Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up all the icons, of course. Miz, brother, I'll start with you. How are we feeling today? How are you doing? The shirts are looking beautiful this morning. Look at this on my side of the town. Look at that, man. Ah, beautiful self.
Bro, honestly, I was so excited, man. That game really got me feeling very wonderful, I have to say. And I was saying all throughout the watch along that it's been a long time. I felt that way. It's been a very long, even though we've won in recent times, I didn't feel that way. Do you know what I mean? Like there was always a sour taste. But that performance, man, like, bro, the people are telling me that highlights are in Pornhub. Do you know what I mean? So Middlesbrough got packed. Yeah, bro.
They got packed and potioned, bro. Do you know what I mean? Shout out Liverpool.
Teach them a lesson if they ever mess with us in the first leg. Next time, just bend over backwards, man.
When was it? Like, I can't remember the last time we battered the team like that. Like, it's been a while. Preston 3-0 was probably our highest scoring win in terms of deficit from the other side. So I don't know.
But even Preston, I don't think it was.
No, first half
it wasn't a complete match.
No,
you know what I mean?
It was bipolar performance. Yeah,
100%. This was a complete package. Like, it was a good match,
start to finish. Yeah. Younes, brother, mixed emotions. I know. I saw your watch along. Half of the watch along was like fantastic. We're going to Wembley, emphatic goals, and the other half, I was shocked that it wasn't exactly the same because I thought you'd beat the team you was up against. But bro, how are you feeling?
I'm gutted that the Chelsea win is clouded by this. You know what I mean? Like a great win with a great performance. And when you're looking at the circumstances, you can't ask for more from what Chelsea did last night against a championship team. 4-0 up at halftime. That's realistically for a top end Premier League team, that should be, normal. That should be pretty much maybe a bit better than normal, where it should be, and we delivered. And then we brought it a bit down, and then into the second half, 6-0, 6-1. You can't ask for more than that. So on that regard, for once watching Chelsea, I'm like, yeah, I've got everything that I possibly need here. Fantastic. But I got to be honest with you. Personally, I have not slept off what went down last night, and I'm still broken as far as I'm concerned. And it's hurtful because of, again, the circumstances where this whole AFCON for us has been shocking. But the manager who's in charge won us the AFCON in 2019. That's something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. We got close to getting to the World Cup, last minute craziness, but again, this was part of the downfall. Some of these players that delivered, Mahrez included, Slimani, Bunja, all these guys, legends as far as I'm concerned, but it all ends this way. It ends with 2 AFCONs in a row, bottom of the group, and now we've got a resignation coming. We've got these players announcing retirement. To end this way, it's painful. It hurts. So
do you know what, Younes, man? Like, we're here for you, bro. Like, honestly, like, to the live chat, you don't understand. As soon as we saw Younes just pop into the stream, I was like, oh my God, I've never seen this guy this way, man. Like, he's always jovial, he's always happy, he's always got a smile on his face, and literally it's all disappeared. Do you know what? I know how you feel, man. And look, I'm not trying to compare this because Algeria obviously a lot better in terms of where they are in the African continent standard. But when I watch Bangladesh play cricket, right? And I know we're not good, but you just hope that maybe we can do something. There's that expectation. And every time we go into a match, we're underdogs and we're heavy favorites to lose. And we lose, and it hurts me so much deep down, man. It kills me. It burns me, like, to see my countrymen just getting packed and just getting thrown around like that, it just hurts. I know what you mean, bro. Like when you've got that blood from your mother country running through you, and you see your brothers suffering like that, it hurts. I fully understand it, bro. But
yeah,
hopefully it'll get better.
And it's like, this is what's crazy is like the expectation was so high this time round. Not high, but there was confidence. Not like the last AFCON, you could tell something was off. But this time, coming into this tournament, we were like, yeah, quietly, this is looking decent. And it's just imploded. And it's one of the darkest moments in Algerian football history, without question. There's a total reform that's needed, and it's just, mate, it was kicking off last night. It was violence and shit, bro. It's not.
Was it really? Was it really?
Is it as bad as the Ghanaians?
They're on par.
Yeah.
On par. There was fans outside the hotel waiting for them, and then it kicked in. And the federation. The one in charge of the federation was there, and he spoke to the fans, and the fans, some fans that tried to get in to have a word with the manager, and it was just like that around the hotel. It was just like it was kicking off. So,
wow,
yeah. It's sad, like I said before, for what this team has done and this manager has done. It's sad to end this way. It's ending all like this. It's just,
especially nice. In that group as well, like which
that group,
clear cut favorite. Like there was no. Ivory Coast.
No.
Even though Ivory Coast, they've been not doing well. There's no Ghana. There's no Cameroon. There's no Egypt. Like clear cut that group. Yeah.
You know I mean? But look, AFCON's a humbler, as some people are saying, and it's true. It is. There's no small team in Africa now, and I know the perception is that there's small teams. There are no small teams, and the circumstances in African football is really hard to understand unless if you experience it, because it's not just. You think big teams against small teams, but you're playing against, for example, the European-based players that all play for big countries are now coming up against African-based players that are undiscovered, that are physically better than you because they run in 40 degrees, no problem. But they haven't had exposure, they haven't had opportunity. And sometimes you come up against players you think are nothing, and all of a sudden it's like, mate, they're running rings around you. The climate, the humidity, 38, 37 degrees out there with 80% humidity. For the European-based players, it takes a little while to adapt to that. You're playing against these players that are just used to it. The mentality is different. African mentality is different, even like often on the pitch. So what you're coming up against is not like what you're coming up against in Europe. It's a different experience. So you never know. You should still be stronger, but mate, this AFCON has proven.
I'm seeing Basuma was hooked in this first game. I'm seeing some of the top players just like they're just getting treated like just ordinary players. It's brilliant. I can't lie though. It's brilliant. It's a humbler.
Just a quick note as well. Apparently, Nicholas Jackson don't start for Senegal.
No, he doesn't.
Just shows
it's mad
how much Senegal.
He's our starter though, so
he's our starter. Do you reckon Chelsea got any chance against Senegal? Senegal will pack up Chelsea.
Senegal look serious. Man.
They look serious.
They're the only ones that look serious. Like we're here as champions, and we will play as champions.
Yeah,
they are proper. They are.
We'll see if the one of the favorites actually win, or it's going to be one of the underdogs, because the way it's looking like the underdogs actually might do some serious damage.
Who's a rank like a dark horse, if you were to say? Who's one to look out for? Younes?
Cap Verde.
Oh yeah.
Cap Verde look mad, and I don't think they'll last. I think their lack of experience and the tiredness might kick in at some point, because it's a high level when you get to the semis and it starts to get serious. Because more times than not, now at that point you're playing against top quality. You're playing against the ones that have made it, that are European based, that are playing at a level, and it's not easy tactically. So they might falter, but they'll go far, I reckon. Cap Verde, and keep your eyes on these teams like Angola and
what's going on?
It's Equatorial Guinea, another one. They finished top, mate.
Is that where Lewis is from, by the way? From Chelsea?
No.
He's Ethiopian.
He's Ethiopian.
Oh, he's Ethiopian. Okay.
Originally, yeah. No, so I'd say Cap Verde, Equatorial Guinea are the ones that no one knows about that might cause a shock.
Wow, mad. AFCON, man. what can you do? It's don't bet on it. That's what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? Don't try and predict nothing, because anything can happen. But yeah, listen, I mean, we made average players look average yesterday, thankfully. Do you know what I mean? We did our business. The predictable happened. I predicted us to win. Didn't think it was going to be that emphatic, but we absolutely blew them away. And to be honest, like when you take a look at the performance, especially, I don't even know where to start, because there's very, like, outside of Mudryk, really, everybody, and maybe Broya, I'd say as well, everybody else basically, you know, they turned up. Do you know what I mean? They took advantage of the situation, which was we was playing against a team we're expected to beat, and they made sure that the complacency didn't set in. Second half, they still added a couple of goals. The Sassy wanted to look like Ivanovic on underlapping runs. Cole Palmer could have added another assist when the Sassy hit his shot for that wonderful pass that he played, plus his 2 goals from open play, not penalties. People have been calling him Pen Palmer. Now, you know, I'd like to announce he's still cold Palmer. Do you know what I mean? Who is your biggest kind of takeaways from that game, is in terms of the way that all played out?
I thought Enzo Fernandez again was fantastic in midfield, man. He was there in the build-up. He was there in central positions. He was there up front as well. Gets himself that goal. That is what I want to see. Him starting from deep, transitioning forward, and then finding himself into the box. So I thought Enzo Fernandez was fantastic. Obviously, Cole Palmer, very, very good. Levi Colwill playing in his centre-back position, made some big defending moves in the first half, knowing that we were playing only with Caicedo as the sitter, Thiago Silva and Levi Colwill, and everyone else was pushing up and trying to create as much as havoc up front as possible. So Levi Colwill was fantastic for me. Obviously, Desassi, I mean, he was on fire. Like, for me, he was tremendous. The way he pressed, the way he attacked, space, and his first touch finishes, and not just Desassi. I think overall, I saw a lot of first touches, man. Yeah. And not just the finishing first touch. I saw a lot of first touch passes, not people taking too many touches. And I think maybe, just maybe, Pochettino has started to drill into these players that stop taking too many unnecessary touches. 1 touch, 2 touch max. We've got to be able to catch the opposition out. So, look, as you said, I'm with you as well. I think besides Mudryk, who I'm sure we'll talk about, Broya was also subpar, but at least you could see, there were times where he really, really did put a lot of effort in his pressing. And I thought he scored the first goal, but it looks like that was an own goal.
No, he didn't shoot.
I thought he actually scored, but the entire team was very good. Very, very good. Even people coming off the bench. Madueke was very good as well. Gallaga, I mean, got himself 2 assists.
Yeah.
So, big up to him. But obviously, I feel like he gave away that goal. We wouldn't have considered if it wasn't for his missed time pass straight to that brother that ended up scoring. So, look, man.
Rogers,
good,
wasn't it? Yeah.
Good game, man. Good game.
Yeah. Younes, what about you, man? What was you taking away from that game? I know it was half of what you was watching, but it was some serious stuff.
Yeah. This is the thing. So for me, for once, I can't drill into too much detail because I was watching 2 games at once. So I know for a fact there's elements for both games that I know I missed. The finer detail. So I'm like, I'm watching this, and I'm like, is something happening? No. Something's happening here? No. And then I've missed a little bit. I'm like, okay, and then I'm hopping back and forth. So, for example, Enzo playing a little bit more forward at times, I didn't pick up on until only a little later, and I'm like, what's going on here? But I know for a fact, like you've mentioned it, and I saw people on the Twitter line as well talking about it. I'm like, oh, okay, so that happened earlier, so I missed that. There's the key moments and the key players that I can only pick out just in terms of the goals, the way. I mean, Disassi, for example, he went on some mad Antonio Rudiger-esque sort of vibe the whole game, and I appreciate that. That's great, And look, I want to bring a little bit of I don't want to say realism, but you get the gist. Like, against a Middlesbrough team, after that first goal, everything opened, right? And you could see the players ended up becoming more relaxed. Everything was a lot more calm. Floodgates opened. Composers there. Start playing, fairly straightforward, and we got the job done. There's honestly the names that I can only pick out. The Disassi, Cole Palmer, of course. I mean, to be honest, there's no bad player that really was on the pitch yesterday, except for, like you've said, we're gonna talk about Mudryk. That's the only one little negative that I have. Everyone else really delivered. What I want to see is to be able to take this, because the expectation was there to get the job done, and we exceeded that yesterday. So fair play. Is to take that forward and to try carry it into some serious opposition like Aston Villa on Friday. And if we can do that, then it justifies this result, tenfold. So that's what I want to see, and that's going to be important. So overall, the goals were, you could say, pretty straightforward. I'm surprised at how Middlesbrough, to be honest, couldn't
played out from the back
themselves at least a little bit. You know what I mean? This is why I expected a 2-0 tight result. I thought we'd win, but I thought like Middlesbrough would really tighten it up, and they couldn't, or they did. I'm a bit confused about them.
The thing is with them, right, is that they were absolutely dedicated to playing out from the back, and it just wasn't working for them. They didn't have the level of players to do it. Like 2 of the goals, I said it at 4-0 at halftime. 2 of the goals came from their own mistakes in build-up. I don't even think like our press for one of those goals was mad intense. They just didn't scan, and then Palmer just took it off him and said, all right, fine, fair enough. And it's funny because if they don't concede those 2 goals and they play a bit more safe and they just clear their lines, they're still in the tie at 2-0. So it was kind of weird to see that they never wanted to switch up their game. They never wanted to be a bit more airtight and, play the safe game. But it worked into our favor because we ended up packing them and really wrapping things up. I have to ask as well, because obviously we've got so many fullbacks injured that it feels like at this point, at least one of the centre backs have to play at fullback. Is it Disasi that plays right back after that performance, or is it Colwell that plays left back? I mean, I guess with Chilwell fit, there really can only be one answer. But if Chilwell's played today, I'm assuming maybe he needs to be looked after and not start against Villa. I don't know, because obviously we played Gusto 90 minute, and then he's now injured again. Maybe we could have taken him off against Preston earlier when we were 3-0 up. I don't know. So I don't want to assume that Chilwell can just start against Villa and then start against Liverpool and play full 90s. We're probably going to have to. I mean, thankfully, Poch did make great subs this game. He took off Chilwell.
Exactly.
He made great subs. He brought youngsters on. They got their debuts. So
in-game management was on point.
It was on point. Gallaga came on at a great time. I think that was forced for Caicedo, but brought energy back into the game. So, what would you prefer, Disasi at right back or Colwell left back if you had to make that decision?
I'd rather Disasi right back, because Disasi, I think, brings a little bit of explosiveness, which you kind of need as a fullback. At least, do you know what I mean? We know Disasi's had his flaws and whatnot, but I reckon that him playing at right back is more reliable than Colwell playing left back overall. And yeah, against a team like Aston Villa, where we might have to do that, I'd rather see that. And Chilwell's played 67 minutes yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So now we've got, obviously, there's today, there's tomorrow. Today can be very, very recovery based for him, I reckon. There'll be a lot of looking after. And realistically, if everything is managed correctly, he should be able to do 90. If you're adding 20 minutes on, should be able to do it. Or even try and at least get maybe up to 80. And then hopefully the game could be wrapped up by that point. Fingers crossed, because we never know. This is Aston Villa we're talking about. So we'll see. But I reckon that he has to start. We can't, be too... I want to say it's beneficial to be cautious. Well, I think in a cup game like this, where it's do or die, if we want to get through, we have to win this game, and it's now. Then we have to play him. He has to start. So yeah, I would say Chilwell starts, Disasi right back.
You have to see the balance of the team, and as soon as in the second half, Chilwell got taken off and Levi Colwell had to go back into left back position, you could already see the balance again not looking right when Chelsea's trying to move the ball. With Chilwell at left back, he's just so... It's natural to him. It comes naturally to him. So he recovers. He's got great recovery pace to come back and hold that line if Disasi's bombing forward. Or what he was doing in that match when we had the ball, when we had the possession, is either be inverted or make those darting runs into the box. So Chilwell's so clever at those darting runs, and I think this is probably one of the reasons why he was used as a left winger in the earlier stages, because of his cleverness of the darting runs. The issue with Chilwell is he's not a winger; he doesn't have the quality of a winger to finish, right?
Yeah.
But it was Chilwell who got that mistimed pass, that first goal, picked it up, went into central area, and just slipped in a fantastic ball to, I think it was Raheem Sterling, might have been. So I can't see Colwill doing that. Colwill's very good on the ball, but I think Colwill is far better on the ball when he's in central defensive, defensive positions as a central defender. When Colwill is pushed all the way to the left, I think Colwill recently in one of his interviews came out and said publicly that I don't get too many options when I'm on the left. I either can go back to the CB or I have to pass it to the winger. I'm boxed in when people are pressing. He just doesn't have that quality to be a left back.
I think his passing range is capable of a lot more as well, to then just shoehorn him into that and force him to do those little basic passing tasks when he's got such expansive range. It just doesn't work.
Exactly. So him playing in that centre back position opens up the field for him, right? Even though I don't think his passing was that great in this match against Middlesbrough, I think Thiago Silva's passing was a lot better, but defensively, you just saw that Colwill a lot, feeling a lot more within himself, feeling a lot more natural about that position. So look, against Aston Villa, I hear you guys. Like Chilwell, can we put him on and start him again, knowing his injury history? But I think I'd still risk it for at least just same as this match. Like play the first 60 minutes if need be. Like you don't have to play the 90 minutes. I think we need to start games better. So give us 60 minutes. If we can have 1-2-0, up our sleeves, then he can come off and we can make the switch off. Colwill, Desasi can come into the middle. Alfie Gilchrist can go on the right. We can do all of that, craziness. So I'd rather start the game strong. I would not disrupt anything of that starting lineup against Middlesbrough, against Aston Villa. I would start the same team and then watch how it goes and then make
I'd probably play Sterling and put Madueke in from the beginning. I think I'd do that. I don't think Mudryk necessarily deserves
Yeah. I agree.
Madueke's been making impacts recently when he's been given the opportunity. I know it's not a long time frame, but I always think with those two, we just have to see who's performing. I think I was surprised that he didn't start Gallaga. I think that was a big tick against a team like this, especially to play Palmer in the 10. I said before the game, Gallaga will be way more useful against Villa on Friday. And then for him to take off Mudryk at half time, because Poch is not really known for making those early subs. He tends to take ages to make his subs. He actually just said, "Nah, you've had your 45 minutes. That's it." I'm giving Madueke the 45. And he scores and he just looks better on the ball. Both of them are raw talents, but I feel like at some point, we're going to have a conversation about it anyway, but I feel like at some point, potentially next season, it's annoying because I think if Mudryk just cost a normal amount of money, I think the options available to us with him and how we develop him would be better. If there was just if it was just a normal price tag of like a 30 million, maybe a 35 max, which is what he should have cost, which is I've always maintained this, then I think our options to how we, maybe do we loan him or whatever, it wouldn't be such a big thing. But I think to do it with his price tag is obviously wild. But I just feel like next season, I've been saying this on Alex to Alex on the TL loads, right? People are talking about bringing in all these young wingers. We want this young winger, that young winger, this 18-year-old, this 17-year-old. I think next season, if we want to be serious, we need another top experienced winger. Do you know what I mean? And try and limit the amount of young players we're consistently relying upon to dig us out of results or dig us out of situations. Because no one's really convinced with Sterling this season. Sterling's still kind of Sterling's one of those players where he's performed at times, but at other times he's done crazy, miraculous things that just don't make any sense. And you're thinking, do you want this to be your most senior, most experienced winger? Because as well as Cole Palmer's playing, right? Cole Palmer's been brilliant this season. He's had a great debut start. I'm still making allowances for someone like Cole Palmer to have a dip, to have a bit of inconsistency, to maybe next season Cole Palmer isn't as great, like how Saka this season has dropped off, or Martinelli. Like a lot of people right now they're not thinking of a potential where Palmer could maybe have a dip, and maybe Palmer needs to.
Palmer has though, Matisse. He has. There was a period in between where he did, but he snapped out. He snapped out of it.
I'm talking about a longer period where we were like, okay, right, this guy's actually got to be on the bench. And I don't want when he has to be on the bench potentially for us to just be relying on raw talent. So I don't know. I feel like if we're going to kick on next season, we might have to look at that.
I just want to play a quick devil's advocate on that Mudryk and Madueke situation. The reason why I said I wouldn't touch and disrupt that starting lineup, and I know we're going to talk about Mudryk very, very soon, and I wasn't happy with his performance either, and I don't want Chelsea Football Club to babysit any of these players anymore. You got a task, and whatever minutes you get, you should be trying your best to deliver. No more babysitting. I love the fact that Mauricio Pochettino saw what he saw at halftime and hooked him. Said, I don't have time for this. You've been given instructions, you've been given a task to do, and you've flopped tremendously. So now there's other brothers that are looking hungry to get your minutes. They'll get an opportunity. So I love that. But this is what I'll say. From a balance of the team, the tactical setup, you'll notice when Madueke plays, right? He hugs that touchline, right? If we play Desassi on that side, Desassi likes to bomb forward as well. The reason why it was working so nicely in the first half is because Sterling is quite capable of playing in the half spaces. Sterling doesn't always have to touch he doesn't have to hug the touchline. He can drift in, which allows for Desassi, or at times when Desassi comes in, Sterling. So that's what I really liked about Sterling being on that right side. I know that doesn't solve anything on that left side, but having Madueke come in, I don't know if you're going to get that same game from Desassi, unless you're saying to Desassi against Aston Villa, brother, you're not bombing up and down the way you did.
Yeah,
so if that's the case, then you
of opposition for sure.
Absolutely, completely understood, because it's not going to be Middlesbrough. You're not going to just press these Aston Villa players, steal the ball, move into the box and just score a first touch finish. You're not going to be able to do that. So happy for him to stay back, be a bit more reserved, but then the left guy's got to bomb. And they have to.
If you're saying start Chilwell from the beginning, for me, that just leans into Desassi just sitting off a bit and just playing as in a three with Silva, Colwell, and you do let Chilwell go further forward. And maybe Chilwell and Sterling can have some sort of connection, some sort of chemistry.
Sterling can play half space. He can play half space.
Exactly, because there wasn't really that with Mudryk and Chilwell. Chilwell was making better runs off the ball than Mudryk, and it feels like Mudryk didn't know when to come short, when to go.
Enzo Fernandez was screaming at him. Enzo was screaming at the brother.
That's what I'm saying. Enzo.
Enzo was saying, make a run. Like he was telling, make a run.
This is what are you waiting for? What I want to get away from is Enzo having to make those runs. In the first 10 minutes, Enzo was making runs in behind Broja and was playing as like this second striker / target man. Now I know that this left half space has been a problem for us this season with no Carney, no Nkuku. So his job was to try and occupy that space. But for me, you've got runners in Mudryk, even Sterling if he starts on the left, and you got Chilwell on that left-hand side that should be making those runs. So you can allow Enzo to drop in, you play a 3-2 build-up, and just get Enzo on the ball. Why would you have your best passer of the football in the midfield, making those runs, being a target man almost, right? And then you've got Chilwell and Mudryk dropping in and trying to make passes. It just feels very backwards. It is very backwards. So for me, I'd make those little subtle changes on that side. I definitely would. And I feel like Madueke, he deserves to start now and get his opportunity in Mudryk. The thing is, I'm not saying that it's not going to switch over again. I've said it time and time again. These two are just back and forth. Sometimes Mudryk looks better than Madueke. Sometimes Madueke looks better than Mudryk. They both should have cost the same, and they both have so much to improve on. It's ridiculous. This is what I keep saying. There's no point trying to really differentiate between the two talents because they're both just as frustrating as each other at times. But at some point, I hope at the end of the season, it'll be easier to differentiate between them, because I do think that if we are to solve our attacking third problems, people are just thinking, oh, the striker will just solve everything. The decision-making this season in the final third and the quality in terms of the wingers providing goals or providing assists or whatever, that needs to improve as well, especially if you're going to get a serviceable striker like Osimhen. If we're going to get a serviceable striker like Osimhen, which is the report, release clause, he thinks that he's already got his decision on where he's going, already sorted. I'm not trying to see the inconsistency in decision making from Sterling. I'm not trying to see Mudryk and Madueke still being extremely raw and then expecting Osimhen to pump in 25 goals, because I don't think it's going to be that straightforward. So either one of these two need to grab the position and say, right, this is mine and it's done, locked off from the other, or we need to potentially look at changing their development course and bringing in someone who is of that quality, who's just going to deliver week in, week out most times. Because I don't want to put Palmer on this type of pressure where he's now one of our key players when it's only been one season. You know, should still be given a bit of room for wiggle, especially when Nkunku's out as well. He might have to play 10 more often.
I was going to say, eventually what this could lead to is just Palmer being the main guy on the right-hand side. I mean, albeit, he played down the middle yesterday, but if it's a situation now where, for example, we'll see exactly what happens with Gallaga, and if we were to go in for some sort of an attacking midfielder, and Palmer just drifts off to the right, and then he becomes the main guy on the right-hand side. So the whole conversation around Mudryk and Madueke at that point becomes even more difficult. But yeah, I completely agree with, if it were to be Osimhen who comes in and day by day it's starting to feel like, yeah, there could be something happening there. We'll see what happens. Then yeah, everything behind him also needs to be in place, because if not, he's just going to go down the same route as some of our other strikers have gone down. So with the wingers and with Mudryk, Noni, what's mad with me comparing the two players is that Madueke kind of came in and like didn't really set a bar so high, right? And it was kind of like just average. And his price tag probably helped him there because he came in on cheap. But when you're looking towards this season, you can see that there's maybe a couple of elements that have improved, right? And he's not there yet, and he still makes mistakes. He's not consistent enough. But this season, the last, you could argue maybe the last 10 games or so, you've seen some good impact from Madueke, even when he's starting or when he comes off the bench. With Mudryk, it's a different scenario here. With Mudryk, the price tag is the price tag, and that's not his fault. But from when we brought him in, which was much before that, right? Much before we introduced Madueke, for example, we've not seen anything. It's kind of just hit a brick wall each and single time. It's just, where is it going? Yesterday was, I think, really critical of him because we're playing Middlesbrough in a game where we had space. Everything was quite open. We managed to basically kill off the game very early on. Everyone looked good. Got Disassi running from centre back to up top. I mean, it tells you everything you need to know. But the only one that looked off was Mudryk. And it's like, listen, if everyone is at least performing against the Middlesbrough mid-table championship, and we destroyed them like we played against a mid-table championship team yesterday, how are you not having a decent game at least? There is a concern. There is a concern. Some people will say that he's not been given enough games consistently. And I sympathize with that to an extent when it comes to Premier League football, but we can also flip it and go, maybe we know why.
Exactly. Yeah.
Maybe we know why. And maybe what we saw yesterday is a key display of why he's not getting that consistency, and why him being the only one after this long that is still looking like he just looks like he can't read the game.
And that's the factor, Younes. That's what I want. You know how people talk about, but he doesn't get game time. He doesn't get the consistency. I think we've all finally have nailed it. He doesn't read the game. He does not have that IQ, that intelligence. You look at, we can look at many other games of Mudryk, right? There's been games where he's impacted. There's been games where he's looked good, right? And the sad part is we have not been able to see that often enough. And also in between, he's picked up some little niggly injuries here and there, which has cost him, the starting, positions. But specifically, if you just look at last night's game, right? There were times you just say to yourself, Mudryk, that was a simple pass. How's that been mistimed? How's that just got intercepted? Are you not aware? Are you not understanding the instructions that was given to you? What your role was in that position? And if you're finding that, okay, I'm not feeling confident, we've all been in this situation, right? Like we're somewhere in life, whether it's work, where you just don't feel confident, but you do maybe the basic things right just to build your confidence up. So you just get into the rhythm of things, and then you start, playing your role, right? If you're not feeling that confident. Yesterday, you could clearly see he's lacking confidence as well. Not just the footballing IQ, but you're lacking confidence. In those instances, sometimes just make the simple pass and make a run. Make the simple pass, make a run. Come internally, see if you can link up. Just yesterday, there were times where he would pick up the ball, just running into the abyss, like just running into players. Running, and there's like 3 players in front of him. You're passing crossfield passes to no one, passing through the middle to no one. And you just say to yourself, brother, just like maybe there's something in your head that's just buzzing too quickly. You need to calm it down, slow down, just stay chilled. A lot of people are saying, oh, but the coach doesn't know how to utilize him. He's got so much pace. Mate, Enzo Fernandez is screaming that he's not utilizing his pace. He's got so much pace, but he's just standing there.
Sometimes he doesn't make the runs. My thing is right. Just jump in, because what you're saying, I want to build on is people will say, "Oh, right, he needs more game time to learn the game." You're not meant to learn the whole game at this club.
No, exactly.
We can teach you some things, but we shouldn't have to teach you everything. Because whilst we're teaching you, we're dropping points. Whilst we're teaching you, we're not scoring goals. Whilst we're teaching you, people are under pressure and their jobs are at risk. And this is where the fan base need to understand the balance. If you want to put that level of pressure on managers and on boards, the players also have to be of a certain level to produce right now. Like, we can develop talent to a degree, but we also are a team and a fan base that demand performances, results, and trophies, which is why I don't want to bring in any more of these kids in this wing position. And this is why having Sterling, who's erratic, Madueke, who's erratic, Mudryk, who's even more erratic, and then having all of these fullbacks inconsistently injured with James, Chilwell, Gusto now as well, the whole flank at Chelsea is too unpredictable every single game. There's too many different combinations, whether it's Disasi linking up with Sterling, then sometimes it's Gusto linking up with Sterling, or it's Palmer, and then on the other side, sometimes it's Chilwell, might be Kukurea, might be Colwell linking up with Mudryk, maybe It's too much turnover constantly. This is why no chemistry is going to get built. And on top of that, the players themselves, they don't perform actions consistently. So people can say, oh, Poch is not getting the best out of him, but why should the manager have to do 90% of the heavy lifting and Mudryk has to be told every single action? This is not a Luke Shaw, Jose Mourinho situation. We shouldn't have this level of winger really starting. That's the truth of the matter. This level of winger shouldn't be starting. We should have one of these wingers, right? If you were to take this back to the good days, you'd have one of these wingers, max, and then you'd have your top left winger, top right winger, and then your dependable super sub, whether it's even a Schürrle or whoever that knows the game, that can bring.
Or even Solomon Kalou would sometimes.
Even Solomon Kalou, right? And then this would be your fourth option. For this to be your starter, it's not the level. You know what I mean? And then people say, why are we inconsistent? Because of this. This is one of the not solely him as a player, but I'm saying just because the manager is meant to be able to develop young players, it does not mean every single player should be a young player to be developed. That's the point. It's overkill. So ideally, I'd like to loan out one of them if they don't stamp their authority on the end of the season. But I don't think they're gonna be in a position to do that.
And do you know what, Matisse, you were talking about? The manager shouldn't have to do 90% of the heavy lifting. The thing is, and I know every opportunity we get, we try and bash Pochettino with his lack of impact so far. But in this case, I can't, because he has been doing 90% of the heavy lifting for Mudryk. He actually has been. Apparently, there's some reports that's circulating around that's saying that he was barking orders all throughout the game to Mudryk. He was guiding him where he needs to be, what he needs to do. Pochettino's not in the sidelines to just manage Mudryk and Mudryk's game. He's there to watch everything else. He can't just be sitting there and just personally manage where he needs to be every time. You have to have some level of understanding at this level. Like, This is the Premier League, man. I mean, obviously this one.
And even
is
if you're given instructions, right? People say, right, he just needs to be absolutely force-fed instructions. He needs to be told exactly what to do at every single moment. You still have to be intelligent enough to actually perform those actions. You can't just because you get the instructions doesn't mean you're actually going to do what's being asked of you every single time.
Be able to execute.
You got absolutely, you got to execute it as well. Do you know what I mean? Execution is key. That is half the job. If I tell you how to do something and then you fail to execute it, am I still in the wrong because you couldn't execute it? I told you what to do, you didn't execute it, or you couldn't execute. So there's a balancing act here to be had. Sometimes players, it's not that they don't know what they should be doing, it's that they either can't do it or they're incapable of remembering what they should do at what moment. You know what I mean? They have forgotten when they need to do what action at what time. So and then you got man them like Enzo screaming like, "Yo, make the run!" You should be making that run. You should already be on your bike with that much pace. You should already be gone. Do you know what I mean?
There's a saying, isn't there? Like you can guide a camel to the water, but you can't make the camel drink the water. Like you can guide them to the water, but it's up to the camel after that. Like drink the water, mate. Like, you can't just force them. Do you know what I mean?
No, you're completely right. And that's a really good analogy because when it comes to this sort of thing, being able to read the game or being able to execute instruction, it's all circumstantial during the game, right? The manager can realistically, and Poch can only give instruction based on what he is seeing in terms of the setup of the opposing team and where we can exploit, right? And give certain direction. But during the game, when Mudryk is in a certain position, he needs to be the one that's being able to read exactly where the opposition is placed, where are they moving, when the ball is coming over to his side, what spaces are available, where can he go. Like that's all like micromanaged in milliseconds by the player. That can't be given by the manager. The manager can do like a macro analysis of where you should be heading and him noticing maybe certain patterns, but in the moment when the ball is moving and players are moving, that's up to you to be able to know exactly what you need to do in that moment. That's how you read. That's how you are able to read the game. That's the IQ. And that's something that I don't believe can be coached into you. That's just something you have or you don't have it. Most players at the top level have it to a reasonable standard, at least to a good level. And then you have the elite ones. We're talking like, how Lampard used to read the game or how KDB reads the game now. Like that's just... It's mad, the way that they're able to understand what's going on around them. Or you get Xavi and Iniesta and all those guys, right? But the problem with Mudryk is that it just seems like it just looks like he can't. He's purely physical. Like he can sprint at 200 miles an hour, great, right? He goes to the gym and he's pumping all sorts of mad weight, great. He's a machine in that case. Then there's no actual like human element to the game in his head of what he needs to do in a certain moment or where he needs to move. And I'm sorry, at Chelsea Football Club, he ain't got that. You won't make it. It's as simple as that. And the criticism. Yeah. Sorry, really quick. The criticism, if we remember, some people in the chat have pointed out that Lampard gave about Mudryk, right, is now looking like it's maybe starting to come into fruition. Maybe Mudryk doesn't understand the game. Maybe.
And you know what? The classic example is when people talk about, he's not, the manager don't know how to use him. He himself, like he needs to read what his strength is. And I'm pretty sure he knows what his strengths are, Mudryk, and he doesn't know how to utilize that in game. Enzo's literally saying, make that darting run. You're not going to be offside because the defensive line is further back. There is space in behind your man. I can slip that pass through and you're in. You're into the open space where you can hit the byline. The fact that Mudryk is standstill on the same line as Enzo and he can't read that what his strength is, which is pace, and utilize that. That's scary for me. That's what, like, how can you not read that there is space in behind the defender and you can see the defensive line and you've got the pace to beat the player and you've got a baller like Enzo who's going to be able to slip that ball through? That's when I'm like, ooh, there's a lot of work. There's a lot of work that this brother needs to realize about football.
You're right. And on top of that, were anyone making let's say the reason of he's 23? I'm sorry. At 23, you should have this wrapped up. This is something that a 16-year-old.
I don't know if anybody used to watch Joe Cole at 23. There is that age will not save you. He just turned 23, to be honest. But I say often that he's 23, but he's 19. You know, he's 23, but he's 18. That's kind of how I see him. So not only do I see his game to be of a under 21 level still, right? At best, but I also see his price tag knee slashing in half. That's not a compliment. That's not good. Now, we can try and protect him and shield him as much as we want from the rivals and whatnot, but at the same time, we also need to be able to compare him to other players we've had in his position over the years. I'm not talking about Eden Hazard, right? I'm just talking about normal level left wingers at this level of club. And is he hitting that level in terms of his own performance? And even when he's given the foundations and given the situations to literally seriously do damage to opposition, and he's still looking out of place. Listen, if we want to get back to where we want to be, or we want to hold people accountable, then unfortunately that situation we'll have to look at some point. If he doesn't kick on, he's in his first full season. That's probably his saving grace. But you know, I've done it with Havertz. I've done it with Werner. Everybody gets their time. And then if you're not producing in said time, then we will have to sell you. And you're not really going to loan out a 60+ million talent. So it will just be that you have to be sold. You know what I mean? But I don't think we're at that point yet. But we certainly have to call it as it is that this was a great opportunity for him to really put a show on. And he didn't. You know what I mean? And it wasn't really down to anything other than just not knowing what to do at the right times, to be honest. But Baba, welcome back into the building, brother. Off the back of a big win, man. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It feels good to be a cup finalist again. We will be going to Wembley without Mount and Kepa, so I hope it's a good omen now. It's been a while that we won at Wembley, so yeah, man, looking forward to the final. Bring it on. Fulham, hoping for a Fulham win tonight.
Bro, if Fulham win tonight, I don't want to be disrespectful, but if Fulham win tonight, I will be going off. I will be going off. Like, it will be insane if Fulham get a win today. If Fulham manage to progress, I'll be living life, because I'm shameless. I don't give a damn to be honest, playing Liverpool 3 times in a row at Wembley and losing all 3 would actually send me into overdrive. So
yeah.
Even though this is a completely different team and a completely different manager, so it's not necessarily like because if they've been beaten 3 times in a row, it's just that we've been beaten 3 times in a row. I just wouldn't be able to stomach it.
I think the law of averages suggests that we will win this, because we've already lost 3 FA Cup finals in a row at Wembley, and last
2
season,
Carabaos.
It was also
and 2
Carabaos, yeah, and 2 Carabaos.
City and Liverpool. So
yep.
Because the sorry one was the first one that we lost. Before that, it would have been the FA Cup winner under Conte.
But 3 FA Cup finals was heartbreaking, man. Like, should have won at least the Leicester one. I think we should have won.
Oh, bro, do you know what 2 FA Cups?
The Leicester one was crazy.
2 FA Cups does a lot. You know, it does good damage to the standards in terms of trophies accumulated, catching up to clubs around us, bro. Like,
true.
To miss, I'm not saying win every cup, but to leave with nothing out of 5. Oh my! It's very un-Chelsea, man. We used to be demons at Wembley,
ruthless.
Especially when obviously Drogba rocks up, it's over. Do you know what I mean? Now it's the complete opposite. So, but we can only hope. Let's see what's being said. Still think a circuit manager gets the best out of him. I mean, yeah. When a player is 100% a system player, though, I don't think that's a good thing, especially at left wing. You know, that's quite an individualistic position potentially if you're that good. I don't look at a left winger and say, I want you to be a system player. You know, I look at a left winger and think, if you are part of a great system, then hats off to you. You found a great coach, right? Maybe that's good for you. But also, you have to have a bit of individualism about you, and you have to know the game and be able to produce. Because sometimes the system fails. You get a circuit manager, right? Like a Sarri, right? Doesn't mean every day the system's going to be on point. He might have a couple of injuries, which is very likely at a club like this. A key component missing. and now the system's in tatters, and we need individualism to bail us out. Where's the individualism? So if the player's based on needing circuits or needing every single action to be performed in certain ways for them, that's not good enough, because the players that are individualistic and then also can handle the circuit, that's the ideal situation. You know what I mean? Being able to do both. So yeah, you know, Hazard was so individualistic, and then when Sarri popped up, he had his best season at Chelsea. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's a key example there you've just mentioned. It's a winger specifically needs to be able to adapt to anybody. You know, you're a winger. If you're told to have to sit back and hit on the counter, you do that. If you're involved and the press is high and we're quite attacking, then you do that. But realistically, you should still be able to have the fundamentals of being able to read the game, get past players. As a winger, you need to be able to cross, you need to be able to dribble, you need to be able to shoot, you need to be able to assist, you need to do these things, and that comes in any system. So yeah, that shouldn't be restricted to just who the manager is in charge. It should be down to the player.
People say this is a De Zerbi team, by the way.
Look, this is a team that I personally think, you know, if you had a manager like Sarri or a De Zerbi, probably you will get a lot more technicality out of them, and you'll see a lot better patterns. But that aside, like, what's that got to do with Mudryk? Like, Mudryk, as Younes just mentioned, regardless of manager, your wing play is your wing play. Like, do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if what would Sarri do? Say, for example, if it was Sarri or Roberto De Zerbi were at Chelsea Football Club right now, what would they do differently with Mudryk right now? What else
would
can
still
you do?
be running into defenders.
Mudryk wouldn't be making those runs. He still wouldn't be making the runs. Like, the thing with Poch, he's actually been quite okay
Lenient.
so far. I'm starting to lenient, exactly. Just in recent weeks, I started to see Poch now be a little bit more ruthless, because he's starting to feel the pressure that I'm going to lose my job if I'm too friendly with some of these guys. I need to look after my job. We just wanted Poch to be like that a lot earlier. He's starting to be like that. Gallaga, I think against Fulham, we saw that tweet from Olivia Bazaglo saying that Gallaga got an absolute mouthful from the touchline from Pochettino. He was saying, you got to play that forward pass. You keep playing it backwards. And this game, we see Gallaga benched, and we'll see what happens down the track, how Poch feels about Gallaga moving forward. This game we've seen with Mudryk. So, look, man, certain things the manager is not to blame for. And in this case for Mudryk, I don't think it's got anything to do with the manager. There's a lot of things that we can blame on the manager. I don't think you can blame anything about Mudryk, about the manager. It's just the player just not there. Do you know what I mean? He's quite immature. He's at baby stages still. He's got a lot of talent, but as Matisse said rightfully, that we can teach you a few things at Chelsea Football Club, but we can't teach you everything. Can't teach you how to play football. Like, come on.
Yeah. This super chat says, happy with Carney being back. For me, he should make the 11 with Lavia injuries a different dynamic. Reason I'm okay Gallagher being sold in summer. Listen, when Carney's back and he's in those half spaces, bro, this is what you want to see.
One match we do well without Gallagher, and people say I'm okay with him being sold. One match, one game we do well without Gallagher.
Well, Gallagher got 2 assists.
I think a lot of us wanted him gone, man. It's not about the one match. Yeah, look,
no. I think, and his assist for Palmer was brilliant, by the way. It was brilliant on the left side. To be fair to him, I will give him his credit. Like, he was
we've all said that Gallagher has a space in the squad, and off the bench is probably a good one because it injects that energy.
Yeah.
But it's clear to see if you started that match with Gallagher. So imagine the same setup where instead of Cole Palmer just behind the striker, you have Gallagher just behind the striker and Palmer on the right side, and potentially you drop Mudryk, right? I'm telling you, will not be getting the same output. You're not getting the same output. Whether you guys like it or not, it's a simple, way to look at it. We've seen in previous games. So this whole idea about one game without Gallagher, no, it's not the case, man. The fact is, Gallagher in this team probably has a space off the bench, but to dictate the midfield, that's not what he's going to do. Simple as.
No, and this goes back to the point as to why right now, with the way that Chelsea have been moving the past season or season and a half, right? Why he can offer something, but it does also mean that if Chelsea were at a standard, right? If Chelsea were at a level where we used to be operating at, well, yeah, Gallagher's a squad player at best.
Simple.
We know that 100%. But for where Chelsea are right now, he's one of the things that we have that's important that could maybe take us one step further to maybe get us back to where we need to be. And then at that point, he probably turns into a squad player again, without question. So there's that. We also need to take into context here. This is why I said at the beginning of the show, let's see Friday, where the opposition gets a bit more serious. Yeah. This is Middlesbrough. So we also have to mention, and not to take anything away from Chelsea, like I said, because we did score 6 and we did kill off a mid-table championship team in the way that a Premier League club at our level should be able to do so. We've done that. Mission accomplished. Great. But now we face a proper team like Aston Villa. We'll see there. Because like Drogbaba just said, if we're making one assumption after one game and then it's shifting after another game and then it's shifting back after another game, we can't do that. We wait and see what happens against Villa, and that will give us some sort of confirmation, I reckon.
But just to counter that, Younes, is I do want to see Enzo, Caicedo, and an attacking midfielder.
100%.
You know what I mean? I want to see that against top quality oppositions, and I want to see against Mickey Mouse teams as well. This is the point that I'm trying to prove here. It's not about Gallagher is the missing point. He needs to be in midfield. He can be utilized in certain games, no doubts about that. There might be certain oppositions that you go, do you know what? His trait in midfield, because the opposition likes to control the ball. Let's say, for example, Manchester City. Gallagher had a top game against City because City likes to keep the ball. They like to keep the ball. So you need someone who's going to be able to run around. Against teams that don't want to keep the ball so much and allows us to keep the ball, we will struggle. It's simple. So predominantly, I want to see Chelsea Football Club always play in the front foot. And in order to play in your front foot, Enzo, Caicedo, Gallagher ain't going to work. It's just not going to work. That balance in that trio is not there. They're not going to be able to operate in that manner. Now, if you play Enzo, Caicedo, Palmer, there's a lot of technical ability. There's a lot of ability to control the match. Or Enzo, Caicedo, Chukwuemeka, then there's a lot of ability. So this is where we need to go in the future. Chelsea's got to play good football, not some rubbish style of football.
Yeah, and if you are playing that's rubbish style, then you've obviously got to win. It puts a lot of pressure to win trophies because you can't not with that. Let's see what else is being said. You're safe for now. We are looking good at home. Last 9 games, 8 wins, 1 draw. Also, big up Miz, looking 10 years younger with the trim. Oh God! Listen, the home form has been good, man. The home form has really, really been good recently. We've been racking up some nice results. Obviously, quite a few cup games in there as well against a couple lesser opposition. But you got to beat what's in front of you. We've got to talk about the importance of what a potential trophy lift would do for this group, man, because I feel like this trophy is so much more significant for this board, for this manager who's got a big bottling / loser mentality kind of cloud hanging over his head. I think his post-match quotes were a lot better in this game. Obviously helps when we win, but he was saying that, he's absolutely desperate to win a trophy, etc., which is good to hear. I regardless of who we're playing, Liverpool or Fulham, I don't want us to go up there and if it's Liverpool, we're happy to be here, participate, give it a go. No, we're there to win. One thing I do like what Mourinho says is finals are there to be won. They're not there for any other reason but to be won. You go to finals to win, and that's it. It doesn't matter how you do it, where you do it, you must win. That is all a final is about. I don't care about 2012 when we, were getting dominated by Bayern Munich in stages of that game and hanging on for dear life. We won. And that's all it's about. So for this group to find that first trophy and lift something, and I think if we do win it, we're 90 minutes, potentially maybe, 120 plus penalties away from winning it. I need to see Todd Bowie in that stadium at Wembley, Egbali in that stadium at Wembley. If that trophy gets lifted, they need to touch that trophy, I don't want them in their offices in America, you know. No. You make sure you're there. You were going to games before. This game you got to be at. And if we win that trophy, I need you to pick it up, lift it like Roman did, and understand this is what it's about. Get used to this. This is what it's about. You need to touch that trophy and understand it. It's a minor one. We're starting you off light. Do you know what I mean? We're starting you off light with a Carabao, and then you dream of Champions League, Premier Leagues, get back to that level. They need to feel it. Really feel it. It's a massive moment for this football club, you know, for them to get their potential first trophy under this ownership. With a group that's not won anything, with a manager that's not really won enough, and definitely not won anything in this country, could be a massive moment. Could be a very big moment. If it goes the wrong way, then maybe we look like a mini Tottenham, where maybe we do just not win trophies and we become these bottlers or whatever. And it'll be a sixth final at Wembley in a row lost. I don't know if that's a record. It's a shocking one if it is. So
it probably is. There are teams that have lost finals, like, I mean, in the world, not like in England, for example, that have just like lost every single flipping final they got to. It has happened, but
Juventus have lost 5 Champions League finals in a row.
There you go.
In the 5 champions, I think they won in 1996. Then after, since 96, they have played 5 Champions League finals. They've lost all of them.
That's actually pretty crazy.
Mad. Yeah,
that's actually they're a glutton for punishment.
97, 98, 2003, 2015, 2017. All the Champions League finals they've lost.
You see, Mudryk, that is IQ right there.
that's just...
I wonder how many Atletico Madrid has lost as well. Champions League.
Atletico have also lost a lot of finals.
Yeah.
Copa del Rey, Champions League. Like, do you know what I mean?
And it's because they come up against Real Madrid most of the time in those.
Or Barcelona. Do you know what I mean? So, in the Champions League, Real Madrid or Barcelona.
Yeah.
The Spanish leagues as well.
That's mad. That's absolutely mad. So yeah, massive. That game is so big.
It is. I want to say, and I've said this once before, like this, if we were to win it, fingers crossed we do, man. Fingers crossed we do. Because it'll more than likely be Liverpool. And again, Liverpool again. How many times we played Liverpool and lost recently? It's crazy. So if we were to do it, it's about how we move forward after that. And if we use it in the same way that we did in 05, and when we won the Carling Cup at the time when it was called that, and it spurred us on for a team that hadn't won anything. Or we go down the route of United last season who won it and they've gone to pot. So it's important about how you utilize it and what your intentions are going forward. And like Matisse said, it's very, very important to be able to look at that and go, this is a trophy. Now we need to win more and this needs to become a normality. Do you know what I mean? In the same way City made it. City got bored of it. City won it 4 times in a row. We're like, listen, we're done with this, man. This is nothing now. Like it's just it's like a postage stamp at this point. Doesn't mean shit. So it's important about how you move forward. It's important.
Would you not start Mudryk versus Villa's high line? I mean, that again, that should play into his hands, but obviously he has to make those runs, right? But the high line from Villa is going to be so appetizing. But at the same time, Madueke is no slouch. He's quick. He's just as, he's not as quick, but he's still quick. So, we got nothing but players to take advantage of that. Broja wants to run in behind too. So there's going to be loads of whoever plays, there's loads of players to make those runs. They just need to make them, stay on side, and then someone's got to play those passes to them. That's what really needs to take place. But yeah, I think even in the game we played against Villa in the league at home, we should have won that game.
We should have won.
I think Gusto got sent off in that game, didn't he?
Yeah,
so,
he did.
Yeah, man. Villa, listen, it's a massive game. I think that the cup games are just like they're all finals right now because we need to get as far as we can in the FA Cup as well and try and double up on some silverware. There's no way when you're not in European football you should be thinking of anything else but picking up these cups. So yeah, if we can go, we need to go through this round and then see what the draw says. But yeah, we need to. Villa's a massive game. So I'm starting Madueke to kind of just try and again give Mudryk that kick up the arse, maybe potentially coming off the bench, but all of them can run in behind. So I don't really see it as something that's massively in his favor.
Do you know what? I actually like that idea. I'm starting to warm up to that idea of perhaps Sterling on the left in the inside forward areas, and then hopefully Chilwell's fit enough to start again. and allow Chilwell, because Chilwell with the highline,
runs.
you know he's gonna make some amazing.
He had a
runs in
chance
behind.
against Villa, bro. Do you remember?
He did. I remember.
Yeah,
he
did
did, because he's
it.
not a winger. He's not a winger, right? He's not going to be able to score, but he's going to be able to get those runs. And maybe this time there can be another runner with him where he can square the ball to. So, look, yeah, maybe Sterling on the left, staying more inside, allowing Chilwell to sort of bomb forward, and Madueke hugging the touch lines on the right, and Desasi probably just staying back a little bit.
I will say, do you reckon Villa are actually going to play that normal sort of high line that they resort to in a cup game? I think they might be a little bit more cautious and maybe bring it a little lower than normal.
I feel like someone like Unai Emery.
It's Unai Emery as well, exactly.
Like he plays his way. Like his way is you're playing high line. Like we want to be able to box the opposition. I would find it very, very surprising if all of a sudden he goes, I'm deviating away from my plan, and now you're going to sit back. Do you know what I mean?
As well. When he used to win cups with Villarreal, so he used to back his approach all the time.
Yeah.
I
could imagine like maybe a Antonio Conte or maybe even a Jose Mourinho, like just say, look, hey, we're away, sit back, hit them on the counter. Do you know what I mean? But Unai Emery, he will play his way or sack me. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I would be very surprised if Aston Villa don't play a high line. Very surprised.
This is why I mentioned it. Someone's put it in the chat, and it's exactly where my logic was going. It's because he is a very, very good cup manager. Like, that's the thing. So on the day, in the circumstance and having to manage for that 90 minutes in an isolated way, would he divert a little bit? That's why I put the question out there. So, yeah.
Let's see.
We'll see.
A few other super chats. Let's fly through. Kingsley says, talk to me about Big Ben's. One can dream. Big Ben's.
Not happening.
Oh, why not,
man? I think it might actually.
The thing is, right?
It's too good to be true. That's why.
The thing is, right? I said at the start of the transfer window, the only person I want to come in is a striker, and we're going to make a few sales, right? Matson's already gone. He's going to be signed by Dortmund. He's had a good start there. We'll see if they can afford the price, but they're probably going to pay it. Chalobah, if he was fit, would probably be out the door as well to Italy to be with Tomori, Tammy, and all those brothers. And Broja is another one where if the price is right, pure profit, it makes sense. Since he's come back from his injury, and it's probably harsh, right? Because it was a big injury and he does need time. But unfortunately, whilst giving you time, we are also going to cost ourselves points, positions in the league. And I'm not willing to sacrifice for that because I don't believe that really, he's one of those unmissable, like untouchable. What's that? FOMO, fear of missing out talents, right? He's a nice striker. He looks like he had something to him before the injury. All right, he looked like he had deceptive pace, potential hold up, maybe even a finish in him as well, and he had that maybe potentially some shithousery to him as well. I don't know, but this is Chelsea. We need someone up there who can bag, like we just do in this game as well. Didn't really see enough of him at all. Him and Mudryk were the two players that didn't really perform. And this is not his first rodeo where we're thinking, bro, this was lackluster. This wasn't good enough. So if we can get money in for him, and I think that 50 million asking price is stupid. We're not going to get 50 million for him. Regardless of what you think of Hairline and going for 70, whatever. It's not Man United coming in for Broja. It's Wolves and Fulham and West Ham. We need to be getting Benzema on loan. Like, we need to make it happen. If he wants to come here, that's the only thing that is up for question. The wages, no one can afford them, so I don't see that as even an issue because
it's not an issue.
If he wants to leave badly enough, he knows his wages aren't payable. So we need to bring him in. Imagine what he could do for Jackson in the second half of the season. In terms of feeding him knowledge and giving him tips in training. The same applies to all these wingers that are trying to become goal scoring or output wingers. He could give them so much advice. He was in the middle of that attack when Vinny was going through his first 12 months of stinkers, right? Or tough moments. Rodrigo, he was knitting that attack together. giving them time to develop. And it's exactly the same situation we have now. Obviously, that I don't think they're as talented as those guys, right? But we have very young players that also need hand holding and need, they need to be surrounded by someone who can lift them and give them that advice and pull it all together. Now he is 36 now, so he's a little bit further down the track, but we've got someone in Silver in the back that has given so much leadership and so much knowledge to the back line, the young defenders. We've got no one doing it in the attack. Sterling doesn't fall into this category, so it's a no-brainer for me. It's a no-brainer.
Just imagine Karim Benzema in that Carabao Cup final against
whoever.
Bro. You're moving into that final with a lot more confidence.
Beautiful.
Benzema leading the line. You just picture Chelsea team coming out, whoever the captain is, probably Chilwell, and then right behind him, Benzema, towering figure, moving in and just setting the standards at Wembley.
With the blue straps on his hand.
Yes. Drogbaba. Oh, you did it, bro. I think I'm a little bit hard now, bro. I'm not even gonna lie. Wow. That was nice. The blue.
Can you imagine?
The blue strap. I gotta get myself the blue strap. I gotta get that, man. I'm gonna have that on for my watch along.
If he says one game Mudryk is playing against us, maybe that's what it takes. Maybe that was the moment where Vinny was like, woke up, realized that it wasn't the levels. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Let me break down this whole Benzema situation, and you guys let me know whether I'm loopy, right?
Yeah.
Benzema, it's been now widely said, and Fabrizio Romano saying there is tension with Al Ittihad, so he wants to leave. There's no doubt about that. There's tension. So we've established the fact that he wants to leave. Ittihad don't want him to go though, because obviously he's a brand ambassador. It's not going to look nice on Saudi Pro League when a marquee player wants to leave. It just throws their league, upside down. So completely understand. But you cannot stop an individual. If an individual is adamant to leave, they will leave. That's how life works, right? So Benzema wants to leave. However, I think Benzema's first choice was Lyon. That would have been some story. Going back to the roots where it all started for him. I still remember Benzema for Lyon, the early days. My God, what a gunman he was, man. I think it was Benzema, then it was there was Juninho, there was another French young player, Johan Gouffran or something.
Gourcuff.
Johan Gouffran.
Yes.
Yeah, those guys at that time, that was the big deal. So I think he did want to go back to Lyon, and Lyon, I think financially, even if he does take the wage cut, which he has to, they still can't afford that. And don't forget, there has to be a loan fee as well to Etihad. You're not going to get the player for free. You're going to have to give some money. So I think Lyon, financially, they're a little bit strapped up. They can't make that entire transaction happen. Now, you look all around Europe. Does PSG need a striker right now? Probably not, because Gonzalo Ramos is probably still going to stick around. They may do something in the summer.
Colomani is also there.
Colomani is still there as well. Mbappe is still there. Does Real Madrid need a striker? Perhaps. But does Benzema want to do the whole Real Madrid, saga again? He's already done that. That chapter's over. He ain't going to entertain that again. Like, that's over. Does Man City need a striker? No, they don't. They've got Erling Haaland. They've got Alvarez. They're sorted. Liverpool, do they need a striker? No, they don't. They're sorted with their attack. Man United, maybe they might be interested in a bit of a, injection of someone like Benzema.
Man United could really do with him as well. Yeah,
100%. So that's a contender. But is the new board that they've created, are they going to go for someone like Benzema, or are they going to keep backing Hairline? If I'm them, I'd be backing, that's your big money signing, right? 70 million. You're going to keep backing him. That just leaves Arsenal and Chelsea, really. We're looking for a striker. Arsenal's looking for a striker. It's really upon these two now. Who else out there, unless, I don't know, like Besiktas or a Galatasaray somehow pulls
you never know. That's the thing is, you never know. Big profile players go to these teams. They're big clubs in Turkey, so it might take one of those.
The Shrama is good over there, bro.
It might take one of these clubs. It might take one of these clubs. You know what I mean? Coming in last minute. The window's closing. There's only a week left, really. 7 days, 6 days. We need to make a move, man. We need to make a move.
But
on
guys,
top of that, It seems there's a couple of Arsenal journals that have said, nah, not happening. For Arsenal.
Yeah.
So
So my question regarding that is, like, we read reports yesterday that Chelsea are now started to think about
Sorry,
Benzema. They started to consider Benzema. What does that mean? Like, they've started to show interest in Benzema. What does that mean in terms of the transfer happening? Like, have they contacted his camp, or have they sent a proposal, or they have discussed among themselves? What does that mean actually in terms of the transfer being?
I think that really means the journalists trying to get a bit of clicks. That's what it means. I think internally, his name would have been floated around. And surely has to be his name, because you're looking for a striker. That name has to be floating around. Now, a few journalists are saying that Chelsea don't want to entertain anyone below 25. Mate, bin that policy. Absolutely bin that.
this is
We don't
Benzema.
even this Benzema, bro.
Benz.
Like, bin that whole under 25 policy, man. Like, you need experience. You need someone who knows the game. Like, you don't need another Mudryk handhold a striker to the goal.
And you know, miss, this ownership is all about money. Imagine the amount of shirts you'll sell.
100. I've been talking about the business side of this whole deal as well. I said this is the Todd Bowley type of a move, because this player, I'm telling you, all of us over here right now and the live chat, we're all buying, and not the replica either, straight from Megastore. We're buying the real deal Benzema shirt, undoubtedly. So, from a business standpoint, massive.
Imagine Benzema going down because he wore number 9 at Chelsea. No one can break number 9 cursor at Chelsea.
And you know what's mad, because obviously people are gonna bring his age into the factor. But for me, the Benzema doesn't. It's not a problem if he's 36, mate. He was 35 and dunking us at the bridge last year in the Champions League. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry. He's still got it. Believe me, he does. And look, the way this is set up for Chelsea is this. If it were to happen, I want to say this as well. If we do get Benzema, it's confirmation we're getting Osimhen in the summer.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. 100%. I agree.
Because it's obviously going to be a stopgap until the summer, where we do need someone to come in, but we're not going to buy because we're clearly going to have an agreement with Osimhen for the summer. So if it does happen, and we'll see what happens over the next week, then it's basically two things at once, two birds, one.
Killing two birds with one stone. Yeah.
My brain's full.
The thing is, the way Osimhen, the way Osimhen's talking, it's like his deal's already done.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it yesterday, didn't he? He already knows his next decision. Like, I'm like,
but I'm surprised that Real Madrid are not. I know that we're favourites because of maybe.
I think it's
Mbappe. Are they banking on Mbappe again? Because every time they do this, he doesn't come.
Bro, they will get Mbappe. It's a matter of time.
Are you sure? Because I don't think the French are going to take too kindly to that. They might threaten
100%.
They won't let him leave the country.
This time, yes.
It will happen. It will happen.
Bro, Mbappe cannot look. I don't know how much Mbappe will give one final shot with PSG to win the Champions League. I can't see how PSG are going to go all the way. They'll do something, but I don't think they'll go all the way. They're not good enough. Mbappe knows the Galacticos are happening again over there. Jude Bellingham, Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. Like,
hopefully Trent one day. Hopefully Trent.
Oh, is that for real? Like, is that
someone's? Yeah, so Reece James doesn't go.
Faisal is trying to push this. He's honest. He's trying to push
this. I thought you were going to say Fabrizio was trying to push this. You never know. Fans can do a lot of...
Trent's gone to Madrid and it was SDS that made it happen. Yeah.
Listen, I need to see Trent at Real Madrid so they've been rumored with Reece James. They know they need a right back, Carvajal. There's only a select few right backs that can play at the level of Real Madrid. I think if Reece James was actually consistently fit, he's 100% Real Madrid level. Trent is Real Madrid level. And I mean, Walker's too old and Trippier's done. And like, so English-wise, we're finished here. Trent would be, beautiful.
That Real Madrid team, I think everyone's doing watch along for Real Madrid.
I would love it. I would love it. And then you've got like Rudiger just running down the channels trying to protect the defensive duties. it's just match made in heaven. Hakimi is another one. He was at Real Madrid though previously, and then he was obviously sold. So yeah, there's not many though. There's not many. But we'll see. That super chat was about before we get to this link up, because I don't really know how realistic it is or how far along it is.
No, I've seen what happened with PSG. I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Okay, fair enough.
I think it's a fourth kit, basically. It's a fourth kit. PSG have released a fourth kit with Jordan, Chelsea.
Yeah, it's a style. It's a style thing. It's an extra thing to go on the website. We might look at it and think that's cool. We'll buy it. It's not a whole. So Osimhen, we talk about Osimhen. Do you guys want Osimhen? Are you happy with that investment? Yeah.
Yes.
100 million pounds, 120 million euros, is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Or is it 120 million pounds? Is that what it is?
No,
130 million.
130
million or something? 130 million euros?
103 million.
Yeah, 103 million. Yeah, conversion rate. It's 120 million euros. So
okay, cool with that. Happy with that. Want him?
Yeah.
Look, for me, either way, Osimhen or Tony, it doesn't matter. But yeah, Osimhen is the first choice. I think we've seen the damage that he's capable of doing up front. We've seen it for Napoli in Champions League. We've seen it for Napoli in the Serie A. Aerially, very dominant. It's got a lot of pace about him. I know a lot of people will talk about AFCON, but look, I'm telling you, AFCON is not the best way to judge the players, man. Look at Salah in AFCON.
I agree.
You look at Salah for Liverpool. Look at Salah for AFCON. Like, do you know what I mean? Who's Osimhen got in Nigeria? A lot of other, like, I know they've got a lot of strikers. They got Boniface. They got
Chukwueze, Lookman.
But who's their midfielders?
Iwobi. But Miz, he has had chances. That's the thing. He's had big chances in this tournament. I'm not judging him solely off this tournament, because I was questioning whether we should go in for him before the tournament anyway, for that price. But he's had big chances in this tournament, and it's solely down to him that he hasn't taken those chances. Like the 1v1s, big opportunities. He should just be putting them away. But
are Nigeria out?
I'm not judging him off AFCON.
No,
they qualified.
They qualified.
So we'll see. We'll see how the rest of this.
Hopefully, he gets better as the tournament goes on.
I want to stress this through. When it comes to strikers, right? We have to remember strikers will miss, but they will score as well. Like we've seen Haaland miss sitters to an extent, not too many times, but he's missed, and then it's, oh my god, how has he missed that? You know, but then he's gone on and bagged because that's what top strikers do. Drogbaba has missed, right? But he bagged goals alongside it. It's when a striker misses and then misses and then misses and then nothing happens. And it just dies. That's the problem with Chelsea. And anyway, so if we've got a striker that's missing sometimes, that's normal. But if they're bagging goals alongside that and they're still bringing the tally to a really good level, then fair enough. And Osimhen, I think, is in that bracket anyway. So
I think people need to also realize Osimhen, not just for Napoli. I saw but fair enough. When he was in Lille as well, right? He was in Lille. He was bagging goals there too. Osimhen wasn't like just out of nowhere, just started bagging now for Napoli. Yeah. So he did that for Lille. Then he's done that for Napoli. So yeah, I'm not concerned that he's missing chances now for Nigeria. I'm pretty sure in the upcoming matches he's probably going to bag goals.
We'll see if Nigeria do progress and they get to the latter stages when it starts to get serious. We're talking semis and the fight. If they get to that sort of level, and we'll see if he does bag, because you also need to show up in the big games where it's like it's do or die. Like that's also going to justify your price tag and your level. Is if it gets to a serious game and you show up,
because Drogba wasn't prolific, right?
Exactly.
But in the big games, he turned up. But these Drogba comparisons are becoming almost Messi, Ronaldo comparisons, because every time someone's compared with Drogba, they flop. That's what I've clocked. So if Osimhen is going to be the new Drogba, then we're finished, because every time this happens, they don't perform. Me personally, I've said it many times. I'm not so all in on this Osimhen deal. I really am not, because as a striker, I think. I look at the Tonys, I look at the Isaks. I know he's got injuries, but they're much more well.
Who's your striker?
I prefer those players, because I think, especially if the price isn't as high, I think Tony's got a year left. I think if you get him at, I don't know, maybe if he costs 60, 70, I think that's not as mad as 100. But I don't know. I just feel like Osimhen's got a lot of things in his game that's not not as polished. And if he doesn't bag minimum 20 goals at that price, there's going to be a lot we lose potentially. Like chance creation wise, I don't think he's got the dribble. I don't think he's got the same ball carrying ability as that we've seen from these other strikers, and that will bring the chances potentially down, right? Especially if we don't get wingers. If we don't bring in a winger, we go with these same very inconsistent, unpredictable wingers, right? So then I'm looking at him, I'm saying you have to not only bag your chances, but you have to bag probably at a higher rate because we're creating less. His finishing, Defoe mentioned it on Filthy Fellas, and it stuck with me. He's not when he shoots, he doesn't finish, right? I still don't look at Osimhen as a clinical kind of like Kane-esque, Aguero-esque type finisher. I just see him as a good. He shoots well. Sometimes he shoots really well and he puts some serious power behind it, and it's a great goal. But I don't see him as like a clinical finisher. Like he's a bagsman. He seems like he does need a lot of chances, and then he'll take a lot as well. He's a service striker, and I'm very hesitant on these service strikers with Lukaku and what we've had previously, because even though we have more creation with Enzo, Palmer, you know, it only takes one injury and suddenly we're struggling again, and then we're looking to the striker. Can you get involved? Can you now? Osimhen's game is still, you know, there's still things to look at, like the heading ability, love that. You know, the work rate, the pressing, love that. So you know, will his physicality in Serie A for that league is not as strong? Will he show up as much in the Prem in terms of his physicality? We're gonna see. Do you know what I mean? Because I think when you've got a bit of pace and power in Serie A, it's going to show up a lot more than when you come here, where everybody's a lot stronger and faster. So there's still question marks for me. But
I feel like the French league experience that he had, that covers the physicality factor. And we shouldn't disregard that one bit. I hear you, man. Like, I wouldn't be too perturbed if Chelsea go and get Tony. Like, Tony's he's a top striker. Like, he's very good. Like, those two options are top notch. Tony or Osimhen. I like the Isak shout, but can Isak stay fit? That's the issue.
Can Osimhen stay fit as well? Like, Osimhen's had a few injury issues as well. When I
and can Tony stop gambling? I guess there's a lot of issues, right?
Some people have mentioned Sesko, 40 million release clause. I think Younes did a video on him as well. For me, again, if this was a second choice and it was like a developing, a fantastic price, loads of potential, but we don't need another one of those.
You already have Jackson in that 30-40 million range. Striker, the second striker, the guy who comes off the bench kind of striker.
People who say Openda, smashing it at Leipzig, got Werner doing up loan spells at Tottenham. That's another player that's potentially putting the ball in the back of the net. People have mentioned Santiago Jimenez as well in the Dutch league. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of strikers out there. I don't know. Lautaro's banging in league goals again for Inter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm scared. I'm very scared. We have to get this right, man. We have to get it right.
This is the thing. There is an element here of PTSD, and that this is like, you know, do or die. We have to get this correct. There is an element of that, and that can sometimes interfere with logic because we're scared. 100%. Our striker situation has been so bad for too long. It's crazy. But I do also want to stress, and obviously, like, I'd love to see Osimhen, but I do agree with it can't just be Osimhen on his own and then that's it. We're fixed. That's not gonna happen. I don't feel like it. You make a good point that he's not someone that you just give him the ball and he's just going to take the ball and just do a madness and smash it into the top corner. You provide him with a lot of opportunities and he will get you goals, but it is going to back on a certain level of creativity, chance creation, all of that. It needs to be improved. I still don't feel like we're at a level that we need to be at in terms of creating chances. Some people say, no, well, we are. I still don't think it's enough. It needs to be more. And if it is, then you bring in an Osimhen and he will get you goals. If we're still operating with this level where we're not doing enough, then he's just going to be up there in the same way that at times Lukaku was up there and nothing happened. So
do you know what it is as well? Like, our best crosser of the ball, Reece James, is not a consistent figure in this team. Everybody's looking at that Reece James to Osimhen connection and thinking, right, you get that crossing with that aerial ability, you're cooking. But doesn't always work out like that, right? And the thing is with Osimhen that I worry about is that he makes us, to get the best out of him, we have to be far more direct. Like, we think we're direct now. We're gonna have to be really direct. I'm talking when we're out wide, we're crossing the ball. When we get the ball, we're picking up ahead and we're hitting it over the defensive line immediately. We're looking in behind. These are his two main strengths: running in behind and crossing and getting on the end of crosses. Right. So we have to be direct. Now, for us to play like that, we're gonna need players that A, have accuracy, right, in their passing and in their crossing, which sometimes that lacks. But B, we need those chances to be taken, because if we become more one-dimensional and become more direct and it doesn't work, the football quality is going to drop. We're not going to see all of that, chance creation, patience, and people are talking about patterns of play and intricacy. Fuck all that. You want your intricacies? You want your patterns of play? You want your no. Osimhen is there. Get the ball into him. Get him opportunities. That is where it's going to be. Like, exactly. This is very Liverpool. You know, when Liverpool get the ball into Younes immediately, they don't play. They don't take time. They get the ball out to him early. They don't wait for the low block to set. They don't wait to... They cross. Yep. They get it in. They get the ball in now. If you don't do it and you take too long, Osimhen will get frustrated. He's waiting. He's not dropping deep to link up. He's not doing all that. You're wasting time. No. And this is why we need to... When we're building a team, it needs to be... Everybody needs to understand, what are we building, like what direction are we going in? Because too much time do I see this club, they bring in a player and it's not catering to the rest of the players. It's not that Lukaku's a bad player, it's that we didn't play in his style. Do you know what I mean? We didn't play in a style that suits him because we were trying to do other things with Jorginho and cover. So, but we didn't have that rock and roll midfield to be direct and to be expansive and to be up and down. If we did that, it would suit him, but we didn't. So we need to make sure the whole team is geared towards the 100 million striker that needs to bang. When he comes in, there's no excuse. It's not, you can get 10 goals, 12 goals, 20 goals in the league, 25, 30 in all comps. Done. If you don't get that, it's not good enough. That's it. If the team is not ready to commit to Osimhen, it's not going to work. That's my biggest fear.
I think. Look, I've seen some footages in recent times of Osimhen at Napoli. I think we're doing a little bit of disservice to Osimhen's skill set. I have seen him inside the box shrug off two defenders, make space for himself, and just thunder home a shot. So, look, he ain't no Aguero. Let's get that straight. He's not an Aguero. He's not a Luis Suarez, right? But you look at the team, how we're building this team, and this is where it all comes down to recruitment and whatnot, how you want to build the team. You got players like Nkunku. You got players like Cole Palmer. You got players like Kani Chukwuemeka. Like, you got those technical players in and around, right? Do you also then need a striker that is capable of playing like a Suarez, that is capable of playing like Aguero? Maybe not, because you have those nippy players. You have those players that are going to, provide that service, right? So it 100% comes down to the manager. It also comes down to how the entire playing squad, what roles and what instructions are given to them. You've got to Osimhen, try and find him. You look at Erling Haaland. Is Erling Haaland an Aguero type of player? He's not. Erling Haaland relies on service as well. Erling Haaland without KDB, even though he was scoring goals because there are other quality players there, but without KDB, you don't have that regular service, right? It's a different profile of a striker. But is Haaland not working at City? So, look, I hear what you're saying, Matisse, in terms of you're scared, basically, that I'm going to spend a lot of money on this player, and generally this type of player hasn't worked out at Chelsea Football Club. And when it did work out, that was a long time ago in terms of Didier Drogba or Diego Costa, right? So I hear what you're saying, but I think this kid, this particular, and I think Osimhen is it. Like, how old is he? I don't even think he's 25. He's 25. So he's not like old. Do you know what I mean? There's still levels, I think there is there to develop still. He's not the finished product as yet. So I think he'll be all right.
Another thing about Osimhen that brings me a level of confidence that, for example, I don't know, we said about Lukaku at the time, but when we see like what it actually turned out to look like, it's the same reason why you've mentioned Haaland still does somewhat decent even without a KDB. Osimhen is explosive. He's not like Lukaku looked like he had 2 cement blocks like in the ground, just not moved, despite him being a flipping, he's like the size of a building. But with Osimhen, he does have that explosiveness, and he's got at least that bit of that power and that pace in order to really force through, and it supports how we do need to play direct. I agree with Matisse and what you're saying here. In order to get the best out of an Osimhen, you do need to be direct, and that suits Osimhen because he has that explosiveness. It will just double up on everything that we're doing if we do play direct. And personally, it's how I would want Chelsea to play. I love to see whether you're playing in an offensive way or in a defensive way. But if you're explosive, if you're direct, whether you're playing attacking and you're taking the ball from A to B in a fast manner, or you're sitting back and you're counter-attacking and you're getting the ball from A to B in a fast manner. I don't know. I just love to see my teams do that. So Osimhen, I think if we were to play in that way, would fit in because he does have that explosiveness. It would be beneficial. And I think that is one of the benefits that he can bring to this Chelsea team. But it's not just all going to be based on him, like I said earlier. It is going to be about the players around him too.
It's going to be one of the most important transfers in this tenure, in this ownership, because they're going to give him a 8-year deal, right? So like this is not like previously where we signed a striker and then it didn't work and then we go and get another one. In my opinion, once you commit to this striker and you sign an 8-year deal, that needs to work. It needs to work, if it doesn't, then I mean, we're going to pay the price anyway, literally and position wise in the league. So yeah, hopefully if he does come, then it works. But yeah, when people are talking about Nkunku and Osimhen, I can't lie, bro. I'm very worried about Nkunku's fitness. I'm very worried about some of these players' fitness. I'm not really drooling about these combinations, Reece James, Osimhen, Nkunku, Osimhen. I'm not drooling because these brothers they're not available. How many times am I going to see that combination on the pitch? 10 times a season, maybe? It's not enough. 10 times? 3 of those against Preston, Morecambe, and Accrington Stanley in the cups. Nah, bro. I'm not gassed until I can see these players are consistently fit. I can't be thinking about these combinations. They don't exist. They don't exist, man. They really don't.
I want to put really quickly. What are you guys' thoughts on? Imagine we're having all this conversation. We end up with John Duran.
Who?
Who?
We may see him against us in a couple of days' time.
What do you think of John Duran? What would you What would you do if we ended up with John Duran?
It'll just prove everything that we've talked about the owners. It'll just prove it like tenfold. Like, do you know what I mean? Everything that we've said, that these guys are always looking out for the next maybes, the next potentials. There are certain positions in the football field. Yeah, you don't need to worry about the next potential. You get the potential now. Like, you can maybe experiment a few other areas. You don't experiment with a striker. Let's get the next big thing and we'll see him flourish over the next few years and then we'll sell him for big money. Nah, not at Chelsea Football Club. You may be able to do that at Brighton. That's what they do. Or Dortmund. Right? You just can't do that at Chelsea. You need someone to come in and bang in goals. So John Duran,
the pressure of playing for this football club up front is at an all-time high, man. I mean, look at the amount of pressure that Jackson's received. He didn't cost that much. He's brought other things to the game in terms of his link up, his work rates on point, his ball carrying's there. He hasn't put all of his chances away. His finishing's been poor, but he's getting pelted, right? So, Bryce, this striker position is do or die. Like, there's no more time for any more players that don't have experience at the top level. We've got enough of them. How can you sign Jackson, Fofana, Washington, Whispers? Have I missed anyone? We've got Broyo already. How many more of these developing strikers do you want? It's too many.
Has John Duran scored? Has he scored?
Who?
Has he ever scored a goal?
Has he scored a goal like in his life yet?
You know what? I'm not.
I don't know. I've not watched him much. I know he's come off the bench for Villa a couple of times and maybe started some cup games, but yeah, for me, nah. Mudryk is worse than Noni, pure disrespect. Yeah, some people don't like them being in the same group, same bucket. I don't know. maybe it is disrespectful. I don't know, but for me, I'm gonna leave him in the same bucket for now. No, I'm not gonna agree with this, Billy. I'm not gonna lie. This is a bit extreme. I've not seen enough of these two youngsters to be.
Oh my god! Wow, I just saw the super chat. Like,
fun fact: Pochettino's last League Cup final was a loss against Jose Mourinho's Chelsea.
I was there.
Wow.
What a beautiful day that was.
2015?
2015, yeah.
2015,
yeah. Zuma played?
Yes. Costa scored.
Terry and Costa.
And JT scored.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
Beautiful day.
Do you know what? I think Pochettino, if it is Klopp, it was Klopp that knocked him out of the Champions League final as well, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, it was
100%.
Redemption time.
Revenge.
For Klopp.
Redemption.
Big
There's
time.
a story there. There's a story right there.
Huge story. Coming back to a final, back to UK against the manager that snatched your dreams away from you. Do you know what I mean? Time to snatch one back. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you need to get your chain back. It's not even a bigger chain. It's a very small, much smaller chain, but you need to grab something. You know what I mean? Right. Take something back. Love the show, lads. We need an Isco in this team ASAP. He is playing like a madman, insane baller. Matt, the finisher you need is Openda. He is cold. I did bring him up. He doesn't get enough attention, Openda, to be fair. He's been smacking in the goals for a while now, different leagues and whatnot. So, but yeah, it's another one to add to this. Like the Champions League, I think I saw him this season as well. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Striker situations, it's a tough one. If anybody absolutely 100% knew exactly what direction to go in, they'd be getting paid big money right now, because it's Chelsea's biggest problem over the last 5 years since Costa left. Biggest problem. No one's been able to crack the code up until this point. And that's why I keep bringing up Kane. Kane is the only striker I could have put everything. I could have put my house and my save, everything in, and I said, no doubt he's banging. No doubt. He's the only striker in the world right now I would have just put all my money on and said, yeah, I've got not a single problem. Give him the 9, give him whatever. I don't care. He's going to bang. He's just that good. They used to be 10, 15 years ago, quite a few strikers like that, where you could say, do you know what? You just know they're going to deliver. They're just instant, like bona fide ballers. You don't really have that up front anymore. You got strikers that want to be wingers.
True. Yeah.
You got strikers that do false 9 and you know, maybe inspired by Firmino but don't finish. You got strikers that still are finishers but can't do anything outside of the box, and in the modern game that's a big problem. And then you got strikers that, you know, that just they don't offer anything. They're just shit. So I don't know. It's tough, man. It's tough. Solanke, we're still doing Solanke prop miss before we wrap up.
I mean, if it's not Osimhen or Tony, knock on the Solanke door. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, Solanke is getting 20 goals this season. I'm telling you.
He's on 12, and he's got 18 games left
to score 8.
He could do it. He could do it. Damn.
No, he won't make 15. That's just for Miz.
See, this is why Algeria didn't go through, Younes. I know I can use that Algeria card.
Low blow.
I know I can use that Algeria card.
How was your Asian Cup? Are we gonna go?
We're not in Asia.
I was waiting for the retaliation. I was like, you've definitely taken that shot so soon. The wound is definitely still not healed. He is going to retaliate. 100%.
Healed? Mate, I'm still breathing. The knife's still in me, bro.
Oh dear. Anyway, listen, Miz, let the people know where to find you, bro. It's been a pleasure.
Top show. Man. The other side of the coin, things are heating up. It's good. We've got games coming up. Aston Villa next up, which is it's going to be a good match in the FA Cup. We're looking to move forward. So, yeah, lots to talk about that. I think I'll do something in regards to Mudryk as well. And obviously, I think the transfers are going to start picking up. Benzema, I've got a good feeling this is going to happen. I've got a good feeling this might happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So watch this space.
Deadline day special.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine Fabrizio like Benzema?
Wow.
Benzema.
When's
Here we go.
It's here we go.
When's Chelsea confirmed? Sponsored by Heineken.
When's the Liverpool game coming up in the Premier League? Is that
2
on
weeks.
deadline day? No, the Liverpool game in the Premier League.
Away, Anfield. Next Sunday.
Anfield.
I think it's on the deadline day.
It's after deadline day. 4th.
It's after.
Is it midweek?
No. It's
Is it
on
midweek?
It's on deadline day.
It's on deadline day.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
it's on deadline day.
The window ends at the end of the game.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Imagine
So
Broya starts
Instead of
and
ending
then
the
he's
watch along,
sold.
you may as well just
Half time he's
carry on.
sold.
Instead of ending the watch along, you just carry on up until a deadline. It'll be an hour after the game's over.
Might have to, man. Might have to do that.
Oh,
But I would love to see Benzema just before that. Imagine he's in the stadium cheering on Chelsea. You know,
No, the dream situation is we beat Liverpool, game finished, and then Benzema comes deadline day, bro, half an hour after the game's over. Bomber. Big bomber.
I would say morning, yeah, first thing, Benzema to Chelsea's done. 11 a.m, medical's done. 2 p.m, he's in London. After that, he's on the lineup. Walks out at Anfield, scores.
Oh my god.
Scores the winner. Shatters Liverpool's hopes of winning the title.
Can you imagine?
That'd be mad. So yeah, subscribe.
What have you done? We've gassed up this chat twice today, I think. We've gassed up this chat about Benzema. I think first time it was me, second time now you, and yeah, probably not even going to get him. But yeah, listen, let them know. Did you let them know to find you content coming out? You did. In Benzema pop, you kind of did.
Come on.
Younes, let the people know to find you, bro. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, man. And shout out to you guys and everyone in the chat. You know what? This has actually made me feel somewhat a little bit better. So thank you. This is nice. So Younes Talks Football, you'll be getting obviously still the fallout of what's happened and moving forward into the game on Friday. So tomorrow, preview for Chelsea versus Aston Villa. And in the meantime, we will keep up to date on what's going on. So catch me there.
There you go. Baba, let the people know, bro. Let them know to find you. Pleasure as always.
Apologies for the delay. Was facing a power outage. So same as always, Drogbaba. Just like Younes, I am also quite sad that my team got knocked out out of the AFC Asian Cup. So that's what life is. But I'm glad that Chelsea is putting a smile on my face and we are on a rise right now. So let's hope we beat Villa in the FA Cup and bring on Liverpool.
There you
Just
go.
quickly before I have to come back one more time on Younes.
Oh, come on.
By the way, Australia's into the second round of the Asia Cup.
Oh, yeah. So you got two countries, yeah? I want to say
Group
England or
toppers.
not African.
Yes.
Group toppers, miss. Group
toppers.
Oh my days.
You know what?
I'll play that card nicely.
Wow.
I'll come back in the summer
Duncan.
when England are in the Euro final, yeah?
Younes, we all know how that's going to go. Let's be honest.
and in the international stage, when it comes to football, I'm Germany, so hopefully Germany's bad as well. Germany's bad as well. So,
You're hosting as well. You're hosting.
Oh, is
Big
Germany
pressure.
hosting, huh?
Yeah,
This Euros?
it's their Euros. You're hosting, so big pressure.
Gotta watch that.
But there you go.
Oh,
Until next time, big up your damn selves in a bit, people. Peace.